Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're really getting into something vital. We're looking at the source material you sent on, well, love and relationships, how to build something that lasts.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing a deep dive based on Ola Aloba's work, Strong Hearts, Strong Bonds. The mission today is to kind of get past the poetry and look at the real mechanics, the psychology, the commitment needed for a healthy relationship.
It's such an important conversation because, we often think of love as this magical thing that just happens, effortless.
Right.
But Aloba really argues, and the sources support this, that love is more like a craft. It might start with a spark, sure, but keeping it going, that takes real intention, patience, wisdom even. It's about building something, not just finding it.
Okay, building. Let's unpack that, starting right at the beginning.
Yeah.
What is love, actually? I mean, historically, maybe it was passion or just companionship. But the academic view, it's more specific, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. We have to get past just calling it an intense feeling. Aloba uses a lot of psychology, especially Sternberg's triangular theory. It frames love as fundamentally a choice, an action, a commitment.
Okay.
So the three key elements, the cornerstones you need to keep working on, are intimacy, passion, and commitment. And what Aloba really stresses, beyond just listing them, is the need to sort of re-engineer these over time. Life happens, things change, and enduring love means consciously shoring up these corners, even when things naturally try to pull them down.
That idea of re-engineering, that feels like the key insight here. So if passion fades a bit, which it often does,
Right.
the commitment has to be strong enough to hold things together while you maybe work on rebuilding intimacy or finding new ways to start passion.
Exactly that. If you let one side of that triangle weaken too much, the whole thing gets shaky. The real work is in the constant upkeep.
Okay, so let's talk about the start then. That initial spark. Passion often comes from attraction, right? This is where it gets interesting. Psychology, chemistry. What do the sources say about who we're actually drawn to?
Well, attraction is complex, obviously. Science points to some strong drivers. Physical appearance, shared values. Yeah, those matter. Similar backgrounds, too. And even surprising things like subconscious cues like scent, primal stuff.
Scent.
Yeah. But the insight that really connects to the long-term relationship is this. We seem to be most deeply attracted to people who affirm our own sense of self.
Affirm our sense of self. How so?
It's not just that you find them attractive, it's that being with them makes you feel validated, seen, worthy, That emotional affirmation acts like a powerful magnet.
So attraction pulls us in partly because the other person makes us feel good about who we already are. Does Aloba suggest that same affirmation helps build trust later on?
It's a very natural progression. Feeling seen, feeling affirmed, that leads to feeling safe. And trust, according to Aloba, is built exactly through that feeling of safety, fostered by honesty, consistency, and transparency. That's what allows for vulnerability. You can only really let your guard down when you feel truly safe.
Right. Trust.
Yeah.
It's the absolute foundation, non-negotiable. But the sources also mention that broken trust can sometimes be repaired through effort and forgiveness. Now, I have to ask, that sounds, well, optimistic. If trust is built so slowly, brick by brick, how does Aloba handle the reality that one big mistake can feel like it wipes out years of work? Is there, like, a point of no return?
Aloba is quite pragmatic about this, acknowledges that, some breaches are just too damaging, especially if there's no real remorse or transparency from the person who broke the trust. But restoration is possible if the effort is mutual. And the commitment to being consistent, being transparent, is absolute from the person who messed up, the point of no return. That's usually when the betrayer just isn't willing to do that hard rebuilding work. Without transparency, there's really no path back.
So it's not just saying sorry. It's active, mutual reconstruction.
Exactly. And the main tool for that reconstruction, and just for keeping the relationship healthy day to day, is communication. The sources call it the heartbeat of love.
Right. If trust is the foundation, communication is the lifeblood flowing through it. What does healthy communication actually look like then?
It really boils down to listening, empathy, and respect. And specifically, the focus is on active listening.
Active listening.
Which means you're not just hearing the words. Critically, you're tuning into the tone, the emotions underneath, the body language. Aloba really emphasizes that this deeper listening is what builds genuine emotional intimacy. It stops small misunderstandings from blowing up.
Which brings us right to conflict. Because disagreements will happen, but the goal, as the material says, is to resolve them without wrecking the relationship you've built.
Right. Conflict is like the relationship's stress test. And the material gives some really practical strategies, starting with don't blame, focus on how you feel, not on what your partner did.
Ah, the I statements.
Exactly. And it's more than just being polite, it's strategic de-escalation. So instead of like, you never listen, you're always on your phone.
Yeah, which guarantees defensiveness.
Right. You say something like, I feel kind of ignored and unimportant when I'm trying to talk and I see you scrolling.
That completely shift it from accusation to sharing a feeling. Is that the core of the strategy, that quick pivot?
It really is, because the accusation vanishes. The other person can stop defending and maybe start actually hearing you. Then you can look for win-win solutions. And the really interesting insight, conflict, if you handle it well, actually shows the relationship is adaptable. It can strengthen the bond because you both learn patience and empathy under pressure.
Okay, so the skill needed to navigate that pressure effectively. That must be emotional intelligence, EQ. What does high EQ actually do for a couple in this context?
High EQ is basically the ability to recognize, understand, and importantly, manage both your own emotions and your partner's. It's the essential relationship toolkit.
Give me an example.
Okay, so a low EQ couple might fight about, say, dirty dishes by just escalating blame. You always leave them. No, you do, until someone storms off or shuts down.
Right.
A high EQ couple, though, might recognize, okay, this isn't really about the dishes. Maybe it's about feeling unappreciated or just being exhausted. They can pause, name the feeling, manage their tone, and then tackle the actual issue, the dishes, or the workload from a place of support, not anger. High EQ couples just navigate bumps more smoothly, they show affection more easily, they're better at calming each other down.
And when mistakes inevitably do happen, getting past them seems to hinge on forgiveness.
Absolutely. Aloba sees forgiveness as crucial, like a release valve, stopping resentment from poisoning things for both partners. But the key distinction is vital. Forgiveness isn't about pretending the hurt didn't happen, it's not forgetting. It's the conscious choice to let go of the bitterness.
That's a really important distinction. If you don't forget, how do you stop that memory from becoming like ammunition in the next argument?
That's where the commitment part comes back in. The memory might remain as a lesson learned, a reminder of what went wrong and what needs ongoing attention. But choosing to release the bitterness means actively deciding not to let that past pain dictate the present feeling. It lets the hurt partner stop punishing, and it frees up the relationship to actually move forward, building on, hopefully, renewed trust.
Okay, let's shift to some of the more practical day-to-day tools, things that help translate all this emotional work into actual connection. We definitely need to talk about Dr. Gary Chapman's love languages.
Yes, such a useful tool. It's really about the efficiency of expressing love. You've got the 5 languages: words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, and physical touch. The core idea is that we all give and receive love differently. And the analysis is simple, but can be revolutionary for a couple. If you're showing love using your main language, but your partner's is different, your effort might not fully land. It won't be felt as intended. Learning their language makes sure your expressions of love actually connect. Less wasted effort, fewer misunderstandings.
It's wild how much effort can be wasted, isn't it? Like if I keep bringing flowers, gifts, but my partner really feels loved when I help with chores, acts of service, my genuine effort just falls flat. That's the power of it, maximizing the impact of your intention. Now, while couples are connecting, the source material also talks about maintaining individuality, that balance between independence and togetherness.
Yeah, this is critical. A healthy relationship isn't about 2 halves making a whole. It's more like 2 whole separate circles that overlap significantly. Too much merging over dependence leads to feeling suffocated, maybe resentful.
Right.
But too much independence creates distance, loneliness. The healthiest couples consciously balance shared life, the togetherness, with individual interests and friendships, the independence. It gives each person room to breathe, to grow, and stops the relationship from becoming their entire identity.
And maintaining that space, that balance, requires clear boundaries, which leads us right into modern challenges and the need to talk about red flags.
Exactly. Boundaries protect that individual space and build mutual respect. They become absolutely crucial when discussing safety and spotting red flags. The sources are very clear here. Things like controlling behavior, constant dishonesty, disrespect, these are serious warning signs you cannot ignore. Healthy boundaries, set clearly and respected by both, are like the relationship's immune system.
And speaking of modern challenges to boundaries, technology. Social media seems like a big one. Creating comparison, distraction. really challenges that togetherness piece.
Oh, absolutely. Technology can be a major source of friction. Ironically, it can breed jealousy, pull attention away, make you compare your relationship to curated online versions.
Yeah.
The fix demands conscious effort. Couples really need to talk about and set clear boundaries for digital habits, like maybe phones away during dinner or date night, choosing real connection with each other over the endless scroll and what everyone else is doing, prioritizing the person in front of you.
So we've covered a lot, from the psychological spark to the daily grind of choosing connection. To kind of wrap this up, Aloba seems to suggest the real difference between relationships that last and those that don't comes down to a couple of key things.
Yeah, two main pillars for longevity emerge. First, deep friendship. Partners who genuinely like each other, laugh together, respect boundaries, support each other's goals. That friendship creates a strong foundation. It's what carries you through the tough times when maybe the passion isn't burning quite as bright. Think parenthood, job loss, illness.
Right. The romance might fluctuate, but the friendship endures.
Exactly. And second, they actively cultivate romance. It doesn't just happen. They make time for it, small gestures, dedicated date nights, prioritizing physical and emotional intimacy. It comes back to that core idea. Love isn't just found, it's built, nurtured, chosen, every single day.
It sounds like love isn't this delicate thing you have to shield, but more like a sturdy, complex structure you're constantly working on together throughout your lives.
That's the essence of it, I think. The couples who make it aren't necessarily the luckiest or the ones with the fewest problems. They're the ones who consistently show up, choose each other, and keep investing that patience, kindness, and forgiveness into the relationship they're building together.
And part of that building involves adapting, right? The sources mention that resilience comes from adapting to life's big shifts, career changes, becoming parents, aging. So for you listening right now, here's a final thought to take away. If adapting is key, what's a transition, big or small, maybe a move, a new routine, a change in health that you and your partner are facing right now? How can you intentionally lean into that change together as a way to strengthen your bond? Something to think about until our next deep dive.